hold on. So, did you hear that? So I could have done that, right? And that's kind of a groove I would do. That's a linear beat, meaning none of the notes fall together. I like to do that all the time, where just one limb is hitting on its own. So I was, with that pattern, it's just not enough, you know, especially with that bass pattern. And it's not, it doesn't move. It's just kind of real, kind of stiff. So I had to come up like, how can I make this interesting? So if I had something here on this side that I could, something here I could play in between these notes. So that's what I came up with. And so that's how I like to approach a lot of music. And when I'm playing the drums, is if I have the foundation of it, which is now I'll think, what could I layer over top of that? It could be anywhere, as long as I can physically make it happen so that it's comfortable and it feels good and sounds good. That's what I'm trying to do. So, and that's what I came up with, where I could keep this pattern. Okay. But now, what do you do if you get to that part in the song and now we're ramping it up into like a big section? What do you do? Do you just stop this rhythm and just go? Because now all the motion, all that rhythmic, like driving force is gone. Right? So if I take this away, to me, it doesn't work. And this is what happens too. You got to be careful when you create stuff like this. If this is the foundation, like this is the base for in that song, if you don't know it, this is what's happening under the verses. So I do that for like 7 minutes straight. And as I was saying, now we have to go somewhere with it. Now we have to go even more. Increase the power, increase the feeling. So how do you do that? Well, yeah, one way is to open the hi-hat, but I still have to keep this thing going. Otherwise, all the motion is gone. All that driving energy stops. And the other guys, they're just sustaining one note. Down. That's all they do. So could you imagine If they're going da-la, and I'm going, you know, now it sounds like some really bad rock song. So, sorry, am I like boring everybody? Well, this is important, so you need to hear it. So now you have this. So where do you go from there to make it even more driving and even more energetic? Well, first thing, I needed to add more notes. But how do I add more notes and still keep the feel of the... So what I did is this. Right. See that? Added more notes going back here. Added more notes. Added more notes on the kick drum with my leg. And in between that linear pattern. Okay. And open this up also. So that this becomes like a distortion pedal, you know, noisy, makes it loud, increasing the amount of notes, takes that section, it makes that section a step up from the verses, a big step up from the verses, because also what bass and guitar are doing are full distortion sustains, and there's only those two parts in that whole song, but the key to it are the dynamics, all the little, you're bringing it down, opening the hat, making it loud, adding more notes to take it to an even more driving part. So some things to think about. Wherever you start, plan on it going somewhere, unless you're starting at your full maximum, but just remember that is your maximum. So you might have to be there again over here, but that means everything else in the song probably needs to come down, unless you're doing a format like some metal or something where it's just one level all along, you know. But from my world, that's how we work. Up and down, volumes, dynamics, the amount of notes, all of that. So, all right. That was fun. Guerrilla Power, yeah. All right. John the Basic says dynamics are relative. What does that mean? Relative. How the hell do you come up with that? So yeah, well, that's the thing I was just telling you what I was thinking about. That's the process. Where am I starting with? If it feels like it doesn't match with like what Les is doing, the bass, I've got to come up with something else. If he has a lot of space in what well, that song's not a lot of space, but it is kind of blah, blah. So there's a lot of sustaining. So if I don't have that ba-da-bop, you know, you notice the notes he played, ba-da-bop, ba-da-bop. So right there, I don't know which came first on that one. If he was playing or maybe I was messing around with this groove, but whatever it is, those two things have to link up. I have to have that feel, that triplet feel. Okay, so it's just thinking about it like that. Listen to what your other guys are doing. Do you want to play exactly what they're doing, or maybe play what they're doing in a different location, you know, behind them, in front of them? Play parts of it. Like that's what I do in Mud. I literally play all of Les's, I think it's his, all his right hand notes I'm doing, but I've divided them into so the hi-hat, that last hi-hat note is the only note that he doesn't play, that no one plays, not even me. There's no other kick or snare with it. It's by itself. So that's kind of, you know, when you have to decide, are you playing with exactly tight with him, or are you going to kind of be in your own world as well? You know, maybe I'm just going to do some rhythms and they're going to do whatever they're going to do, and it doesn't really overlap, you know, but most likely if they're good musicians, it'll overlap and it'll connect. I cannot imagine how difficult it is working with those two other guys. Wacky Styles. Thanks, Franks. Oh, yeah. No, thanks for the questions. It's really cool. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys coming on here and hanging out with me. But I do have to practice a little bit. Is that cool? And also, I did not